Imagine a space for South Asian women where stories are not just told, but actually felt. This is Rue, Rising Over Obstacles and Healing, brought to you by Jyoti and Monica, two friends who set out to carve a little space and make a difference by sharing stories and fostering healing and strength within our community. We invite you to listen and reflect, finding your own path one story at a time. And just for sticking around, there's a golden biscuit at the end of each episode. Hi, welcome back to Rue. So before we begin today's episode, Monica, you know something?
What happened?
We have been called out for something we said last week.
Oh, what was it?
So
there was a lot we said last week.
I know.
So, which I thought might hit some people personally, which we weren't trying to. It was just,
I know. Well, it was all the whole Gucci, Prada, or nada. And I knew that was going to ruffle quite some feathers. But actually, I thought that, we may get some differing opinions. But one of the listeners actually pointed out something that didn't really have anything to do with brand names. It was when we started talking about YouTube influencers and particularly Mr. Beast. You remember I was so flippant about him and I was like,
Yeah.
So one of the listeners actually pointed out that Mr. Beast has done a lot of good. So, I think we are sometimes so quick to judge and we have like these biases, but it was pointed out to me that he's actually one of the top like digital philanthropists of today. So he's overall donated like hundreds of millions of dollars.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So this is a YouTube influencer who is involved in very large scale projects. Like he does food donations. He's worked on projects like Team Trees, which is planting trees, and then also helping to provide clean water, building wells, and even just funding surgeries and distributing millions in cash and supplies. So he's actually one of the most impactful digital philanthropists of today.
That's amazing. It's impressive. It's inspiring.
Yeah, and we stand corrected.
Yeah.
So
we do. Thank you for fact checking us.
Yes, thank you. We love it when our listeners actually reach out. And we're not always spewing facts here. Sometimes it's
And it's nice to get the engagement. I mean, we want to be learning, as we go along as well.
Yeah.
So keep the conversations going. And this is something we should tell our kids because I'm sure they'd be so glad about it. It'd be nice for them to look up to this person whose videos they watch so much and for them to see that what he's doing.
Exactly. That's what I thought. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have to tell them, by the way, Mr. Beast isn't so bad,
Yeah.
And explain like all the good that he's doing,
Yeah.
But this actually leads us into today's topic, which has been so heavy on our minds. And the reason I say it leads us into this topic is because what just happened was a prime example of having a bias or a stereotype. And I feel that we're all guilty of this. And with what's happening in the country now, it's very divided and there are two sides to everything. And I feel like a lot of times we are not willing to see the other side. So, case in point, this brutal murder of Alex Peretti, the ICU nurse from Minnesota. I mean, how horrible is that?
It's so sad. I remember first reading, I think the headline didn't even say his name or anything like that. So I thought it was the carryover from the previous murder.
Oh,
and then
Renee Good.
Of Renee Good. And then when I saw a picture of this person, and I'm like, who's this young gentleman? And then to read the article, it was a New York Times article. And I was in shock of what happened. I think I didn't see the video probably a day or two afterwards. And, like everyone, like this last few days has just been a whole roller coaster of emotions of being shocked, being angry, resentment, just not understanding how or why it is that we've gotten to where we are. And how, crime like this can be committed by the government blatantly in open public. And then to not even, admit to a mistake and try to actually try to cover this officer motives. That's the worst thing ever.
Yeah. Own up to your mistakes,
Yeah.
just like we did now at the
Right.
beginning of this episode,
Yes.
right? Like you make a mistake, own up to it. But this administration, I mean, I'm just thinking, what would have happened if we didn't have all these videos?
Yeah.
That contradict what the story they came up with, right?
Completely. And, the other thing I'm thinking too right now, I think like we see this a lot, like everyone's saying this was a young male, a nurse, an ICU worker, at a veterans hospital.
Yeah.
Someone with no record.
Yeah.
Didn't have a gun on him. And imagine, and like.
No, he did have a gun on him.
Sorry, he did have a gun on him, not at the time when they shot him, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But,
yeah.
Like, I'm just thinking like, these are things that I think the reason we also keep making these things a point is because we always think in society like that's someone who's a bit safer than we are, right? Like naturally us as immigrants, people of color, people from a different country, we always feel as if when something's going to happen, we're attacked first. Whereas someone who is a white Caucasian male is safer than we will be. They're able to voice their opinions. They're able to go to protests, be peaceful, if not even cause violence like how they did on January 6th. And 1,500 of them were pardoned by Trump.
Yeah.
1,500.
I mean, that's ridiculous. These people went in carrying weapons into the White House, attacked the White House.
Yes.
And they were pardoned. This guy is trying to protect a bystander. And he's killed for it.
Yeah.
And it's sad because this administration is really trying to instill fear in people. Honestly, I don't think it's even about illegal immigrants anymore.
Yeah.
If you are looking to get rid of illegal immigrants who are causing harm in this country, I'm all for it.
Right.
Go for it, right? When you look at the records and you look at the amount of deportations that have happened under previous administrations, Obama is known as deporting the most people.
I would have never known that or thought that.
Yeah. Because he just acted, right? There isn't all this like commotion around it. There wasn't all this propaganda, like all this, oh, look at me, I'm doing this for the country. I'm sorry, you're not. What you're doing is you're instilling fear in people. You're dehumanizing people. There's no need for that ICE agent to use full force and shove that woman onto ICE, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no need
for
for that. It's blatant gundagardi.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to call it.
You are completely right. It's using force. It's saying we can do whatever it is we want. We will not be held responsible. We are above the law. And it's just whatever goes. You cannot have your own opinions. You cannot question us.
Yeah.
Whatever we say goes. That's not democracy. That's not America.
It's not. It's not. When you were saying that, you would think that this person, this white Caucasian male, would be safer in expressing his opinions and protesting, I was thinking in my head, that used to be the case.
Yeah.
That's no longer the case in this country. It's gotten to the point where little seeds of hatred are given water to grow.
Yeah, very well said.
It's like giving permission and saying, yes, you have all this hatred towards immigrants. You're justified. Go ahead. I'm making this country a better place by getting rid of these immigrants. But guess what? This whole country is founded on immigrants.
Yeah.
There is not a single person here who is not an immigrant or a descendant of an immigrant.
Yes, of course. Unless you're an Aboriginal, you are an immigrant.
Exactly. Which, unfortunately, it's sad to say, but in all my years of being here, I have not come across a single one.
Yeah. Yeah, because
they were just wiped out.
They were.
I mean, there's a very small population that still exists.
Yeah.
But majority of them were just wiped out.
Yeah.
Right? So this is a country that got to where it's gotten to. It's considered one of the most powerful countries on the backs of immigrants. So you want to get rid of illegal immigrants? Go after the ones that are dealing drugs, that are committing murders, robberies, right? I'm all for that. Yes,
of course.
go for it. But, other people that are here, let's face it, like who really wants to leave their home, their way of life, their family, everything that they know to come to another country?
Yeah.
It's not, right? I mean, it's not a decision that people make lightly.
No.
And they give up a lot to come to this country.
Yeah. And like you said, yes, there are a few that come here on work visas, but many immigrants come here with that hope, with that dream, and that skill set of good work ethics to just work hard, to take on any job, to save money, and to, do better, move up that ladder and do whatever it takes good to make it in this country. And they really do savor and are appreciative of every opportunity. And to, turn around and say, like, they're the ones that are causing all these issues. Every community, anyone, any race, any ethnicity has crime. You cannot just put a stamp on someone and say, hey, well, they're doing this, they're doing that. If you want to enforce law, you need to be upholding it yourself. You need to be a citizen that is a good example. And I don't see that happening. If your intentions truly were to make America safe, place these agents at the borders of where all the drugs are coming from. Like, there's so many things that you could be doing to make us safer.
Yeah.
What about schools shootings? I've never heard him once try to stop something like that. Innocent children are being killed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There was something about that guy, Kyle Rittenhouse, I think. He's the one who was like that Caucasian male who went to a protest and with firearms. And there were so many people that were rallying for, pro-guns and whatnot. And, those are the same people now calling Alex a terrorist.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like when it serves your agenda, then it's okay. When it does not, then you're a terrorist. Then it's not okay.
Yeah. I think just going back to how you started the episode, I think we're all allowed to have our opinions or thoughts, but don't be so stuck on the way you think to not be able to fully sit back and analyze what truly is going on and not just blindly follow whoever you feel is your leader, your messiah, or, if you would question your own parents, your own spouse, your own children, what their actions are, you voted this person in to be running your country. Like, they're responsible to answering to you, and you should always uphold them to a much higher standard.
Yeah. I think you'll agree with me, Monica, that the state of this country is chaotic. And I'm sure you are wondering, I'm wondering, like, what can we do about this? Because, we're all outraged over what happened. And by allowing something like this to happen, we're complicit.
Yeah, we are, just staying silent, not trying to take any steps, like the city of Minneapolis having that protest. I think that's a great way to have peaceful protests, stoppage of work, making a presence known. Some resources that I've kind of researched that can help. If you're able to, you can donate to some organizations that help.
Yeah.
Like immigration centers. There's one called the National Immigration Project. There's an Immigrant Defense Project, Legal Aid Justice Center, ACLU, and any local immigrant bond funds that may be in the cities where you reside. And also, letting your local representatives, your senators know how you feel. Give them a call.
Yeah.
It's our taxpayers' dollars that they're working with.
That's something, because I was thinking too, like, what can we do? And initially there was a bit of apprehension on my part. And first I was contemplating like where that was coming from. And I think it was, as South Asian women especially, we're just so conditioned to put our heads down and just keep working. Yeah. It's like, don't get involved in anything controversial. Don't get in the middle of things. Don't bring trouble. Don't ask for trouble. Like, if you put your leg where it doesn't belong, it's like the Punjabi version, I think, was like, apni tang na ra, like in affairs that don't pertain to you. Yeah. So I feel like that's a narrative we're told at a very young age, that if it doesn't pertain to you, stay away from it, stay away from trouble, and just keep doing what you need to do. Worry about yourself, your family, and that's it. But unfortunately, I don't think, we feel that way anymore.
Yeah.
And initially, the reluctance on my part when we were talking about this came from that, from all these years of being told, if it doesn't concern you, if it doesn't trouble you, then just move on. And I don't think we can do that. I think that we do need to take some sort of action. And I've seen so many stories. I posted stories on Instagram myself about this atrocious act, right? The killing of this nurse. And then I thought, just by posting stories, like, what am I doing? What can we do that actually brings upon change? And sharing stories is a start.
Yeah.
It shouldn't end there.
No.
By sharing all these stories, what you're doing is you're creating awareness. There are people who may not know what's going on, and through your story, they might learn about what has happened. So that's a great first step to create awareness, to post your stories. But then let's not be passive about this. It shouldn't end at just posting a story. It should go on to, like what you said, contact your local representatives. We need to remember that our tax dollars are paying their salaries.
Yeah.
Right? And we have the right to demand where those tax dollars go.
Definitely. And
right?
Another thing, it's like our civic duty, right?
Yeah.
To have our voices heard, to stand up for our neighbors, for any injustice that we are seeing. And you have to start off at some point where it's starting. So hopefully we're able to get to a point where it's not going to get worse than this, as bad as it has gotten, that, hey, we can stop it now. Let our voices be heard that we as a people do not want this.
Yeah. And I think we're within our rights to tell our representatives that we will not fund agencies that treat nurses as domestic terrorists.
Yeah.
We have to demand that our tax dollars go towards immigration courts and legal aid.
Yeah.
And not like militarized surge operations and things like that. We can demand where our tax dollars go.
Yep.
So I think that's the next step, is contacting your local representatives, letting it be known where you want your tax money to go. And I think if enough people do this, I read somewhere that all it takes, Monica, is 3.5. Don't ask me how they got to this number, but it takes 3.5% of the population to demand justice for it to lead to change.
Oh, wow. We can do this, guys.
Yeah. If 3.5% of the population were to make noise about this, I'm not saying create a ruckus. I'm saying to do it in a way that actually will lead to change.
Yeah.
Right? And the other thing, too, is we should demand that these ICE agents are wearing body cam.
Yeah, wearing body cam. I mean, listen, you must be knowing that you're doing something wrong if you're covering your face.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing. Why are you covering your face?
Yeah.
And why are you not wearing body cams? Because you know what? If cops have to do it, then they should be able to wear them too.
Yeah, they should.
Right?
And yet you're having trouble with someone else filming you. All of this it does not make sense at all.
Yeah.
None of it.
It doesn't. The other thing that you can do is if you see something, if you see an arrest being made, you see ICE agents out there, you are within your rights to record.
Yes.
As long as you don't get in their way, you don't hinder their operations, you can record. And kudos to the person or the number of people that were recording when this happened, because people know the truth now, as opposed to believing in the story that was put out by the government.
Yeah.
Right? So record the incident. And, when you're sharing your stories, actually tag specific oversight committees. So, for example, the House of Judiciary Committee, your local representatives, don't just post it into the void. Post where the decision makers have to see the volume of public dissent. So they should be able to see it. Post, with tagging these people. And the other thing is that the federal government can't actually deport like millions of people without the infrastructure that's provided by our cities. So we have to demand that our mayors and governors refuse to let federal agents use our local police, our jails, or even like our public records.
Mm-mm.
If the feds want to act, they have to do it without our local tax dollars or our local cops. So these are resources that should be going to our cities and not in advancing the deportation agenda,
Right. Yeah.
So it's just about making noise. It's reaching out to your mayor, reaching out to your governor, right? And just letting them know where you stand. And the power is in numbers.
It is.
So, you can start petitions. Those are some of the things that we can do. The reason we're having this discussion is because I had just been thinking about what simply posting about all these atrocities that are happening, what that's doing. So I felt like that's not doing a lot. And when I looked into what I could do, I wanted to just kind of share it with everyone else too, because I can't imagine we're the only ones thinking this way.
Of course. And I think a lot of people do want to do something. Sometimes we feel helpless. We don't know what the right thing is to do. Some are scared, right? And I like how you mentioned all these things. Like, step one, like you said, post it, because there may be some people who haven't seen the news, or maybe they're just getting a certain feed on their social media algorithm. And, hopefully this kind of brings attention to them. And then also the algorithms, they know how much is everything getting reposted and shared. Like all that, right, is getting done. And then second, contact your local representatives, write a letter, call, all those things that you've mentioned and said. I think we really should, as a community, we need to step up for our country. If you love and like where you live and you do not like the way everyone is being treated and where this country is headed, really, it's just these few steps that you can take to make a difference.
Yeah, exactly. When you're posting, be sure to tag your local agencies, representatives and whatnot, right? And don't be afraid to start a petition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think a lot of times, especially us South Asian women, like we were saying before, we're just sort of taught to keep our heads down and just kind of stay out of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is necessarily asking for trouble. It's using your voice.
Yep.
And we should use our voice for the greater good.
Yes.
Right?
I think this was a topic that was just kind of weighing on us for a little while. And, as you know, usually in our previous seasons or even currently, we haven't really spoken about current events, but I think we both just felt it was important to share, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I think we just sort of deviated from our usual topics and, we wanted to just sort of speak about it and do our little part in just, even if it gets a few people to just reach out to their representatives to demand change, I think it's doing some service, right?
Yeah. And like the podcast is, right? Rising over obstacles and healing. Like, I think currently we're kind of feeling this obstacle that we're all facing. And, hopefully these are some steps that can lead us towards a brighter and better future and some healing.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, we will be back next week.
Yes.
Thank you for listening to Rue. We appreciate you joining us as we cultivate a community of strong, empowered women, one story at a time. If you or someone you know has a story you'd like to share, please contact us at roodaraz@gmail.com. That's ROOHDARAAZ@gmail.com. Also, do us a favor and please share this podcast with your sisters, your mom, your friends, aunties, your eyebrow lady, like any lady you know. You get the idea. Till next time, Kush raho, be well.